Hi everyone. I'm really happy to be here together with you in this lovely city, rainy weekend, but still. Thank you for inviting me for such an amazing conference, and I'm really happy here to help you to learn more about augmented reality advertisement and why it's always good to try before you buy. My name is Anastasia Miroshnichenko. I'm from Berlin, but originally I came from Ukraine. I'm an expert WebXR developer, at least an expert in my sphere, and I'm responsible for augmented reality on a web. I'm working at St. Elmo's. It is an advertising agency consisting over 200 of professionals all around Germany, and we are good in experiential content, and we bring storytellings and campaigns, different AR solution to our brands. So, as I already said, we are using multi-reality storytelling to break up the rules and bring the new wow effects to show our clients what is possible. And so, one day, people will wake up and realize that augmented reality is here. And it happens a lot of question about this sometimes overhyped sector, but the biggest question is how it actually make money. How many of you have your phones in your hands right now? Yeah, as you see, it's already 2020 and people still are keeping phones in their hands. And everything that is happening right now in technological sector is going around phones. So, and advertisement are really keeping an eye on AR because this is the next step. This is a new level of how we can interact with our customers, how we can help them to play around with the product, to adapt it to your needs and see what is possible more than it's only shown. And actually, XR can help that. But what is XR? Do you know? Yes, XR is for extended realities. And actually, it contains everything that you can see here. Like 360 video, you already know, it's just a cardboard and your phone, and you're rolling around on your chair to see some 360 videos. Virtual reality can be delivered with Oculus or Vive. So basically, it's your reality absolutely replace it with a virtual ones. Augmented reality is where the phones come on, and this is an experience when you overlay your real world with some type of digital layer on top of it. And mixed reality. All of you, I guess, have already heard about the HoloLens. It helps to interact with augmented reality, for example, with the gestures, with the light estimations, with object occlusions, and so on. So all of that together happens to name XR. But still, the key technology in this sector is augmented reality. And what do we know about that? It's that it contains from native AR applications, web AR, and social media. Let's get a bit closer. Some of you probably know that you need to install an applications to be able to see the augmented reality happening on your phone. But we also have a web solutions for that. Like, for example, using only HTML and a JavaScript, we can bring the augmented reality experience right on your table, helping people use only their phones and nothing else is needed. Also, for web AR experience, we can have AR Quick Look from Apple, which is using USD set format, and model viewer for Android, which is using GLTF models. The Apple is going forward into AR, and they already implemented high definition 3D models which can be placed on every surface you can get. And the Google with their AR ads can already help you to visualize an object just right, typing into a search like shark, penguins, astronaut, and you will get them immediately staying with you in your room. Yeah. So, going to a social media. Yeah, thanks. It is about a Facebook and Instagram. I guess all of you already know the Spark Studio from a Facebook. It's actually a really good engine who plays an augmented reality experience for most of users. But the problem is that the new generation preferred not to use a Facebook. It's more for our older people. Yeah, if you want to show some product to a teenager, it's probably need to be an Instagram. I guess all of you know about the face filters and Spark Studio. So, as I already said, we also have a Google Ads, and a YouTube is coming on with its own try-on features. So, for example, watching a video on a YouTube, you can immediately experience some new products on yourself. But talking about a makeup, it's really interesting case. Because when you're buying a makeup, you're not really buying a makeup, you're buying a result that the makeup delivers to you. And it's always very difficult to buy, for example, lipstick online, because you never know how it will fit to you. And here the web XR comes up, because without no need of expensive headsets, no need of install and applications, you can just grab your phone and already try it out. Here, with the newspapers experience is a more like worldwide used example. It helps people to extend the information behind the print editions. Like, for example, if yesterday there were a football game and you and you wasn't able to see it, well, just do not buy a newspaper and see the key scenes which were happened. So as soon as we hear a JavaScript room, let's see a bit of code, but don't be scared. You don't need to know nothing specific like an HTML, JavaScript. It's really, really simple, and I guess every one of you can do that. Remember about augmented reality on the web, we still remember that it's just a normal web page. And everything that is built in happens not in 2D dimension, but in a 3D. And responsible for a 3D, we have a web graphics library. Did someone try this out already? WebGL? Okay, you heard about that, perfect. You know that it could be quite complicated, right? Actually, this all piece of code is required to write only one small triangle. And you know that a 3D object can contain thousands of them. So we are not going to dive deeper into this. Luckily for us, a lot of frameworks were created, like, for example, Free.js or A-Frame, Apply Canvas, Babylon.js, and many others, which are built on top of WebGL and helps us, just normal developers, to create 3D graphics much more faster. And there are different web AR extensions that help us to bring our 3D object into the real life. Like, for example, the AR.js, which example I will show you soon. It's an open source JavaScript library. You can find it on a GitHub. Just using a few lines of code, you can immediately bring your model into the real world. 8swol guys are also very interesting projects from the guys from California. It's good for surface estimating, image targets, and they are really a step ahead of web AR solutions. And as I already mentioned, it's an Apple Quick Look and a model viewer from Google, which is already built into your Safari or Chrome. So first, before we start creating a project, we need to define which type of project we want to create. 15 minutes, oh mine. Okay, I will be fast. We have an image markers, which is developed with free open source library ARGS. We have an image targets from 8swol. It's free to develop on your laptop, but you will need to pay for a license if you want to push it to the audience. And as I already said, 8swol has a surface estimation. Let's go next. So I will show you the short example using the A-frame. Did you already try it? It's very good for us lazy developers just to write a few lines of code and do not go deeper into FreeJS and WebGL. It's also an open source, and you don't need to learn a JavaScript to be able to write it. So you just go to a website, grab a CDN link, and you are able to create some experience. I will show you very quickly how to put a basic 3D model on top of a hero marker, which is a default marker for AR. And this is all the code which is needed. How many of lines is 1, 2, 3, 4, like 7, right? Which seems not really complicated. Let's go step by step. First, as I already said, we are going to the A-frame website, grab a CDN link, and add into our head. Then, with an A-frame, we are creating a scene. And actually, all AR magic which we want to create will be written inside. After, we are adding an entity with our 3D model. What is good for A-frames, they have assets. It's an assets management system. It helps our assets to preload faster. So actually, our 3D model will be loaded as soon as our page is loaded. So it's quite fast. Then, actually, if we load our model, it could happen that it's very huge. Like, for example, if you just export it from Unity or Blender, it's the meter, 1 meter in a Unity is like 100 for a web. So you would need to scale it many times down. Also, as soon as we have an animated model, we need to add an extension for animation. And in here, I use an A-frame extras and add an animation mixer attribute to my model. So finally, let's add the augmented reality. For that, I already said I'm going to use ARGS and the hero markers. Hero markers are default for augmented reality on the web, and it is some sort of QR codes which can be easily recognized by the camera on your smartphone. For each markers, we can define different 3D scenes. So to be able to do that, we will add a CDN link to ARGS into the head. Then we are calling our ARGS JavaScript into a scene and add the embedded attribute, which will remove full screen style canvas from our experience. And the last, we are adding a marker tag just to show that we want this model theme under this particular marker. And that's it. Just a few lines of code and you can already get the amazing experience on the web. But it's actually not really practical for advertisement, because we are living in a new era when you want to get everything at once. Like our customers always said that they need the information about the product right here, right now, and they don't want to click like 1,000 buttons to be able to see that. And it's possible. Like for example, in this case with Modelo beer, you can easily add 3D experience to a billboard. So you will not see the boring billboard advertising some bottles of beer, but you can already see a beautiful picture of, or maybe some piece of storytelling to get some atmosphere and try it on. Or for example, an advertisement of a basketball player. Why just do not throw the ball in the basket together with him? Like, yep, yep, and you can throw it out. Which is pretty fun. I will show you one more experience about a printing advertisement that we already developed for our Eterna client. This is how we can add augmented reality into a magazines. And it works pretty stable, and as I said, it's accessible to any our user who has a phone at least not older than 5 years. But here, I will show you different potential issues you can face with. Like for example, different magazines have different formats. Like for example, the size of a page can vary. It can be thinner, it can be taller, and for each experience, you need to load appropriate marker. So sometimes you have like 100 image markers just to show one simple experience. But how not to get lost there? Here we are using URLs. Like for example, in the URL we can add which issue a customer will scan, which page it will be, and then depending on that you can load appropriate marker and show appropriate video. Also, the most common issue is very bad mobile connection. It could be really a problem. Ask your user to wait until your experience will load. So please make it easy and light and simple. Do not put very huge 3D models, very big videos. Try to make it lighter than at least 5 megabytes. Also, my favorite issue is a battery, low power mode. Sometimes iPhones or Android phones are going in this battery saving mode, and then you realize that no experience is working. And you start panic and calling to the client that nothing works, tomorrow is a deadline and everything that. Don't worry, stop, just check your battery first. Because low power mode removes all AR actions from your phone. Just switch it off and it will run. Also, don't create your experience very complex. Try to keep it simple and clear to your user. Teach your user to navigate with basic steps, like for example, tap here, move around, flip your camera, and don't ask a user to make a lot of movements, because it's still a new technology, and we need to teach our customer how to use it. So, as Einstein said, everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. And for us as a developers, it's also very important to keep our code clean. Please keep care about your consoles. keep care about the arrows, because any of you can go and check a code, and all of us will want to be able to read it, to understand how it was developed. So keep your code in order. And yeah, with your help, we can make the invisible visible, and it's actually all what I wanted to say. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So who has the first question? You're a bit shy. It's cute. Ah, thank you.
I have a question. When you put these markers in magazine, in paper magazine, how well used is it? I mean, 10,000 readers. How many use the AR experience?
How many users can use our AR experience in a different magazines? Of course, we are using Google Analytics and Google Tracks and metrics to count how many experience are running, and actually it's like maybe 20% of the users, just because it's also very important to have a good design experience. Like if you point a QR code on top of your ad, a user will see it immediately, but he might think that, okay, it's probably a link to a website, nothing important will happen, right? So you need to leave like a small instructions, like for example, hey, look, here is AR experiment, and also you can promote your AR experience in different social media channels. Like for example, with an influencers, you can just record a small live video talks about how he's using AR, how it's easy, how it's light and working on. Yeah, so unfortunately not a lot of people.
Hello. Yes. Thanks for the presentation. I've a very similar question. Like with the billboards, how do you attract the user to even know that there is an experience to be had? I wouldn't know if I was just walking past the beer billboard to even get my phone out to sort of absorb the experience. So
yeah. So how we can attract a user for this particular billboard? It's all about the design. A design should navigate a user to come here, to find a QR code, to be able to unlock a camera and go to experience. Unfortunately, not all customers know that, for example, to read a QR code, you don't need to download a specific app anymore. It's all already built into a camera. So yes, we need to educate our customers first. Thanks.
What is the conversion rate? You just told us that at least 25% of people use the mobile application, or at least their phone to use VR. And on these 25%, how many users actually buy the product? Generally speaking, is it better than normal redirection to a website?
Yeah, it's also a good question. How many customers are finally buying a product after visiting AR experience? We also use a tracking for a buy buttons here, and using a history from where the user came. And actually, with this T-shirt I show you in a magazine, it was sold out in 2 weeks. Yeah, so probably the percentage of users who finally buy a product is pretty high, because the experience is new, it's wow effect, and it's super hyped technology. Yeah, thank you.